Every lesson is a lyric in the universal song. Oh, the lessons of the journey, I'll weave them in my song.
Hello, and welcome to Lessons of the Journey, where we discuss the stuff we actually needed to learn in school with Coach Jen and Coach Nicole. Welcome back, y'all. This is episode 2 of our 4 Agreements Deep Dive series. Today, we're talking about a big one. It's don't take anything personally. So if you have not listened to episode 1, which is be impeccable with your word, definitely go check that one out because these ideas build on each other. So today's conversation is all about emotional resilience, mental clarity, and learning how to hold your center, even when life continues to throw shade your way. So we teased this last week. You know, you can't show up powerfully if you're attempting to make everything about you. That habit of internalizing everything, I know I used to have it. It's exhausting. But when you start to unhook from other people's behavior and stay grounded in your own truth, that is definitely a game changer.
Yes. Let's pause here for a second because this one is big. Don't take anything personally. Anything. That's hard. Easier said than done.
Yeah.
I mean, how don't you take it personally when someone ghosts you, snaps at you, gives you that weird tone, or doesn't text back? It feels so personal.
Mm-hmm.
It lands like rejection, like you did something wrong. And just like that, we spiral. We start rewriting the story in our heads. I must have messed up. I'm not enough. I should have known better. Does that sound familiar?
Mm-hmm.
Here's the truth. Most of us weren't taught. What people say or do is often more about them than it is about you. Their stress, their wounds, their nervous system, their conditioning. You're just the screen they're projecting it onto.
Oh, I love that.
And when you stop internalizing all of it, the goal, when you stop letting someone else's behavior define your worth, you open up space for so much more peace, clarity, and self-trust.
Ooh, that feels good.
Doesn't it? But listen, this isn't about perfection. It's a practice. And that's why we're diving into this agreement today. Don't take anything personally. Now, we're not talking about this just as an idea, but as something you can actually use in real life. Because knowing it is one thing, living it, that's where the real shift begins.
That's right. Okay, what does this actually mean? Don't take anything personally. Let's break it down. We're not saying don't care. We're not doing that. What we are saying is don't attach your identity to what others do. That means that someone's criticism or silence, it doesn't mean anything about you. It doesn't mean you're worthless, even if your brain wants to go there. So to not take things personally means separating yourself from what someone does or says from your sense of self-worth. It's recognizing that people project their own thoughts, pain, and patterns onto others. And you just happen to be in the way of that. It doesn't make it your fault or your problem, actually. So when you internalize other people's behavior, you're basically handing them the controls to your inner thermostat. Don't mess with my thermostat, y'all. Oh, especially in these days. So what happens? A slight criticism, it'll flick the switch on and make you go, oh, I'm inadequate. I'm not good enough. Is a friend not returning your call? Now all of a sudden you're unworthy? What? But what if we took a step back and realized most of this is theirs and not ours? This is others playing out their own stories, not yours. Most of us walk around interpreting every interaction as a reflection of us, like we're the center of everyone's story. One of my favorite lines that I use in coaching is, get over yourself. The world doesn't revolve around you, although we definitely wake up thinking that it does. When we're able to shift this perspective, everything changes.
Yes, so true. As we're talking about this, I just want to point out that this can be very intense if it's a trauma response. It can become that heightened awareness and it's dangerous.
Yeah.
Not that I would know what that's like or have any idea what that experience is or that I would interpret everything, but Here's the wild part. Social rejection activates the same brain regions as physical pain.
That is wild.
Yeah, and science backs that up. Studies using fMRI scans have shown that when we experience social rejection, like being left out, ignored, or criticized, our brains light up in the same areas that process physical pain. That's crazy, and woohoo to science, man. Thanks
Yay.
for letting us know that. We're talking about the dorsal anterior cingulate cortex and the anterior insula. Say
A
that
bunch of
10 times
science
fast.
words.
Hey, I love these words. The anterior cingulate cortex. Forgot the dorsal part. The same zones that react when you stub your toe or burn your hand.
That's so interesting.
That is wild. I did not know that. This is such new information for me. I love this. Yeah, when someone ghosts you, leaves your message on read without a reply, or gives you that cutting passive aggressive look, it actually hurts, not just emotionally. Your body reads it as physical pain.
Yeah.
It's not just in your head. Your nervous system registers that silence or judgment as a threat. That's why it feels so intense and so consuming.
Wow.
And this also explains why even small social slights can cause big reactions.
Oh. Talk about shit we should have learned in school. This is when we're experiencing all of those small social slights.
I mean, how many times have I been like, why such a big reaction to something so
Yeah.
small, Nicole? Well, hello, thank you.
Yeah.
It's not because you're dramatic or because you're too sensitive. It's because your brain is wired to treat connection like survival.
Mm.
So when that connection feels shaky, your system hits the alarm bells.
For sure.
But here's the reframe. When we understand what's happening inside our bodies, we can pause and say, okay, this pain is real, but the story I'm telling myself about what it means, that might not be true.
Yes.
Ooh, that awareness, it gives us just enough space to choose a different response. By the way, this research, Eisenberg and I, Lieberman, MD, and Williams, KD in 2003, Does Rejection Hurt? An fMRI study of social exclusion. Science, reference number 302, parentheses 5643, comma 290-292. We want to give it all to you. Look it up.
Here's what I find so interesting. Somebody thought to study this. So all of the you're being too sensitive or the gaslighting, and it really did physically do something. Some scientists went, that's interesting. Let's study that. Thank God.
I would even go further into saying when I'm gaslighting myself going, why am I having this reaction? Why am I so
yeah.
extreme? Oh my gosh, it hurts.
Yeah.
Whoa, that's crazy.
Yeah.
All right. That was insight number one. Insight number two, personalization bias is a cognitive distortion in CBT. There's a concept in cognitive behavioral therapy called personalization. This is not when you etch on a piece of glass and put your name on it, okay? It's a thinking trap where you assume things are about you, even when there's no real evidence. So it's etching your name on that instance or situation or response when we don't need to do that. You take responsibility for someone else's mood, their silence, their reactions, and before you know it, you've made their behavior a reflection of your worth.
I got to raise my hand here. I'm in recovery from this. Really. This just happened to me this past weekend. I was trying to not take personally somebody else's mood, and it took a lot of work that day.
Yeah. I'm just stunned by all of this. I'm going to say that one again because I think that was really good. And before you know it, you've made their behavior a reflection of your worth. Man, we're so self-centered, but look, the only reflection we have, the only thing that we're watching is our experience.
Yeah.
So of course it has to be about us.
Yeah.
Nope. It's not about us. Let's talk about this. Let's say your coworker walks by and doesn't say hi. Your brain jumps straight to, did I upset them? Are they mad at me? What did I do wrong? But the truth might be way simpler. Maybe they're distracted. Maybe they didn't even see you. Maybe they're deep in their own stuff. Yep. Still, that personalization bias, that kicks in and your brain starts writing a story, not based on fact, but on fear.
Yeah. This is just so my life, which is really honestly why I adapted to practicing the 4 agreements 8 years ago. And it literally has changed my life because this was all I used to spend energy on. What did I do? They must be mad at me. And then I would go, but I just got here. Was it something that happened in a different, and I'm spiraling out. Can I tell you that it's been 8 years of work for me to go, that's not my thing.
Learning.
Mm-hmm.
This is definitely a practice, not a I got it all right, because I can't imagine that anybody gets it all right. By the way, this is a very common mental pattern that CBT helps people unlearn, because personalization actually feeds anxiety. Yeah, no kidding.
Mm-hmm.
Self-doubt and over responsibility.
Yep.
Oh, I love that term, over responsibility. Yes. It pulls us away from reality and traps us in a cycle of internalizing things that were never ours to carry. But here's the good news. Once you start catching that distortion in the moment, everything starts to shift. You stop reacting to fear stories and you start responding to what's actually real. So here's a reflection for you. Where in your life do you tend to take things personally out of habit? My answer is everywhere. I do this
We all do.
in my social lives. I do this at home, and I'm getting better at this. I've actually been really working on this. Ooh. So what would it look like to choose a more grounded, what a great word, more generous interpretation next time? Grounded and generous.
Generous interpretation. We're bullet pointing this episode.
We want people to be generous to us. So why are we not being generous to others? We want people to be grounded around us. That simple shift is how you take your power back.
We love that.
By the way, this is Beck JS 2011, Cognitive Behavior Therapy, Basics and Beyond.
I love basics and beyond. Really? Okay, whatever happens, just to comment on that, when things go a little awry in our lives, we go, okay, what was working? We go back to the basics. It makes so much sense in life. And have you ever heard the phrase, not my monkey, not my circus?
Yes.
Yes, that's what this is talking about here. The over responsibility, the claiming something that isn't yours. I repeat this so often in my life. Not my monkey, not my circus.
And that's funny. And we say, not my clowns, not my circus.
There you go. Where the monkey comes from, it's the monkey mind. There's another book that I've read. I think it's Jay Shetty. It's the monkey mind. It's the all of the things all at once. Yeah, not mine to take on. That's really essentially what we're looking at. Okay. You know, we like to tell you where all this comes from. The psychology and neuroscience behind this is that very clearly we're wired for safety. We're not far off from the cavemen we weren't and women that we once were. Evolution has taught us that social rejection meant danger. Our nervous systems treat emotional risk as a biological threat. So you're normal. Congratulations. Today, your brain may still hit the panic button over text, tone of somebody's voice, even Facebook post. How triggered do we get online these days? And if you're adding trauma and attachment into the mix, if you grew up conditioned in an environment that was overly critical or unpredictable, you might have that hyper alertness as your default. So when someone delays in a text, alarm, or you think it's one thing about you, but it's really your survival brain lighting up. I'm loving how this all comes together. We did an episode on attachment styles, so putting this all together is going to make a lot of sense. These attachment styles, as described by Hazen and Shaver, they're the link to personalization and reactivity. If we get into this for a second, because this definitely shows up in relationships everywhere, all of the romantic, the coworker, the child, the friends. This research by Hazen and Shaver shows that the way you attached to your caregivers growing up, whether you felt safe, seen, had to manage chaos, it shapes how you interpret others' behaviors now. This is our whole lives coming together. A light bulb just went off for somebody. That's how I used to. Oh, yes. It all has to do with everything. If you've got an anxious attachment style, you might interpret someone's distance or quietness as rejection, even if it has nothing to do with you. And if you're avoidantly attached, you might shut down or assume people are judging you, even when they're not. So this is where that personalization shows up real hard. You're not actually just reacting to what's happening. You're reacting to your past through this present moment. You think, oh, they must be mad at me, or, oh, I must have done something wrong. But what's really happening is that an old wound, an old trauma, they're poking at it. That's where triggers are. So when you understand your attachment style, you can catch that personalization in the moments. You can say, oh, this feels familiar, but it doesn't mean that it's true. That's actually how you begin to stop dragging your childhood into your current relationships. How powerful is that? I love this. If you notice yourself constantly spiraling when somebody seems quiet or distant, or even just a little different from a past interaction, go ahead and take a pause, take that breath, and ask yourself, is this about them, or is this about me and my attachment system getting triggered? And I think if you can ask yourself that question, that's going to hit the pause, which is a really important thing that we're talking about. So, of course, Hazen C. and Shaver PR, 1987. This is from their Romantic Love Conceptualized as an Attachment Process. It's in the Journal of Personality and Social Psychology. We love this.
And if you want to learn more about your attachment styles, we actually dove deep into those a few episodes ago. It was the Conflict Code Part 2, where we got into your attachment styles. Why they don't teach you about attachment styles when you are a teen, man, I don't understand. But there you go. So real world scenarios. Let's talk about a moment we've all had. You send your partner a thoughtful text. Maybe it's sweet. Maybe it's a little vulnerable. Or maybe you're just checking in. And what do you get back? One letter. You just get a K.
Oh, I hate that. Okay, I wasn't even good enough for the O? Really?
And instantly, your brain does what Jen just did. Takes off. You go from, that's weird, to, are they mad at me? Did I say something wrong? Are they pulling away? Are we fighting and I didn't realize it?
Times have we been in a fight we weren't even aware of?
Right. And all that spiraling happens in under 10 seconds.
Yeah.
This is personalization in action. Your nervous system picks up on something vague, something that feels a little off, and it fills in the blanks with fear. Why? Because your brain hates uncertainty. It wants clarity, even if that clarity is based on a worst case scenario. So it grabs the most familiar fear story and it runs with it. But here's the thing. Your brain isn't asking helpful questions. Your brain is not looking for true clarity. It's just looking for any version of clarity.
Yes.
And it's filling in from what Jen talked about, your past. And that doesn't work. So the brain is not pausing to consider, is this how they usually text? Could they be busy or distracted? Could K just be shorthand, not a sign of emotional distance? Could K actually mean I love you? Nope. It skips all that. It makes it about you. And here's the hard truth. When you're feeling emotionally exposed, even something small, like a short reply, can feel like rejection. But feelings aren't facts. Your body might be having a big reaction, but that doesn't mean the story you're telling yourself is true. This is where the awareness becomes powerful. When you catch that mental spiral and interrupt it with curiosity instead of panic, you give yourself a chance to respond, not just react.
Yes. Oh, I love this. You know, our girl, Brene Brown, I started using this. When you're attempting to communicate with your partner, it's the story I'm telling myself is. That's so the vulnerable piece of the, you probably didn't mean this. And still, when I hear those words, the story I'm telling myself is. And then that allows you or whoever to go, oh, no, that's not at all what that was. So recognizing that it is, in fact, a story that we're telling ourselves. I think that's a really powerful thing to express in the attempt to clarify any of these feelings. So, okay, the spiral starts. What do? We already said it. First, we pause. To the best of our ability, we're talking about the text situation. Literally, put your phone down. Set it down. Then take a breath. Ground yourself and ask, what do I know to be true right now? Is there a pattern that supports this fear that I'm having? Could there be another explanation? And here's the most powerful question. What do I want to believe about this relationship? Ugh. Because if the answer is we communicate well, we trust each other, we handle things with respect, then let that be the lens you interpret through. How powerful is this? We're literally creating a reality with stuff like this. So remember, if it's your partner's text, it is not a full personality report. It's just a moment, a blip in time, one word. Please do not hand over your piece in exchange for a guess. When you hold your center instead of chasing reassurance, you show up stronger for you and for the relationship.
I love the word lens. You change your lenses on your camera to see differently. I love the idea of thinking that we do that in ourselves too. We put up a certain lens. We don't even know. We just have that default lens going. And wait, I could shift the lens and see it differently. That's amazing.
Slight shift in perspective. That's all it is. You know, in court, you don't have to prove that somebody didn't do it. You just have to prove that it's possible that they didn't do it. So if we could put that stick in the bike spokes, it's that interruption. Okay, I'd like to think this, but what really is true here? And by the way, that's one of my favorite coaching questions. When I'm in session with folks and they get into this, one of my favorite questions is, how true is this? Which then puts you on pause and goes, oh, well, I have a bunch of examples that tells me that that's not true at all. That's where my brain went immediately. The ability to take a little skip back.
That's a good one. Let's shift into the professional space because this is where personalization shows up hard. Picture this. You're in a team meeting. You've just pitched an idea, maybe even wrapped up leading a project. And then your boss gives you some direct feedback, not mean, not personal, but it's blunt. And your heart sinks. Instantly, you lock up. The story in your head kicks in. They think I'm not good enough. I messed this up. I shouldn't have spoken. I'm failing.
Yuck.
But chances are, your boss didn't even realize their tone was sharp. They might have been stressed, distracted, or just plain lacking social finesse. They weren't out to gut punch you. It just landed that way. That's the trap of personalization. You take feedback, maybe even helpful feedback, and run it through a fear filter. Suddenly, it's not just, here's what could be better. It becomes, you're not enough. It hits on that deeper stuff. Perfectionism, people-pleasing, past wounds around performance. Oh, we've all been here. Well, I don't know. Maybe there's somebody who's not been here. I've been here many times.
I've been there. Who hasn't, really? Put in the comments. If you've never felt this way, I want to know you.
Let us know. Yeah. Here's the key reframe. Discomfort doesn't always mean danger. Just because feedback stings doesn't mean you're under attack. It might just be a moment of misattuned communication. So how do you stop the spiral right there in the moment? I'll ask a grounding question. Try, I want to make sure I understand. Can I clarify what you're looking for? Or what would alignment on this look like for you? For those of you who've tried something like this, it's often amazing how the response ends up being the exact opposite of all the BS going on in your head.
Yes.
And you're going, wow, I had that totally wrong. And those sentences, they shift everything. Now, instead of shutting down, you're showing curiosity. You're showing leadership. You're stepping out of the fear story and into your strength. What a change that makes.
I love that. Stepping into your own power. I mean, just the concept feels amazing. How many of us just regularly have not felt like they were acting in all of their true essence? This sounds just, and it's a vulnerable question. It is. Oh gosh, I'm opening myself up for a little bit more. And where does our growth happen? Straight up, discomfort.
Yes.
We don't grow inside of what keeps us content. We don't. We only grow through discomfort. Okay, let's say the feedback was a little sharp. Maybe it did sting. You can still hold your ground without taking it personally. You can ask yourself, what part of this is about my growth? What part about their pressure or communication style hit me weird? What do I know I bring to the table? If you've headed a project, clearly you got something going for you. What do I know I bring to the table? That is how you reclaim your power. And you're not avoiding the feedback. You're interpreting it through truth, not insecurity. The goal, you guys, it's not to avoid critique. It's to not absorb criticism as your identity.
This brings up the seeking first to understand.
Yes.
The Stephen Covey, that's the one that always comes to me, seeking first to understand. When we're talking about this situation, this is when you're heightened. You're feeling it internally. You're feeling that pain. That's the hardest time to draw to the, I'm going to seek clarity. I'm going to seek to understand. This is powerful stuff.
Yeah. The next time you get feedback like that and you feel that gut check, breathe, clarify, and do your little internal reminder that growth requires friction, but it does not require self-doubt.
That's so good. Growth requires friction. No, I don't want it to.
Because that's hard.
I say no. I want it to be easy. I want my growth to be easy. You know what? We all want our growth to be easy. Jen and I want our growth to be easy too, but growth definitely requires friction. Great saying. All right, let's talk about parents. Haha, this one's for you. You walk in the door, and we're not going to make this easy. Your teen is sitting at the table. You offer a simple, very kind, hey, how was your day? And what do you get back? An eye roll and a stop. Maybe a sharp tone or a cold shoulder as they walk off. And immediately you feel it. That pang in your chest.
Mom, you're so cringe. Stop.
Don't even dare to speak to me. You haven't been there yet, but I've been through the teenagers. And let me tell you, this is legit. And what happens? Your brain kicks into overdrive. You go, what did I do? Are they mad at me? Do they hate me? Am I failing as a parent? Look, after about 4 years of this, you won't say those things anymore. But in the beginning, this can be very jarring. And just like that, their tone becomes a story about your worth, your relationship, your success or failure as a parent. Let's be honest. These are teenagers.
Yeah.
They are wired to hate you.
Yeah.
That is scientific fact. Wired to hate you, because when we were a society of clans, you didn't want your teenagers to stay. You wanted them to go out and make relations outside. This is DNA protection. You got to procreate away from this clan because we're all related. So they hate you, but it's in their brain. It's the rewiring and the disaster that's going on in there.
Yeah.
It's really not you. So let's take a step back. What's actually happening here isn't a personal attack. It's a developmental milestone.
Awesome.
I love that. That's better than the way I explain it. Their brains are rewiring. Their job right now is to figure out who they are outside of you.
Oh, but that breaks your heart as a mom.
I know, it's hard. It's hard. But after 4 years of it, you're ready for them to go too.
Go.
That means pushing boundaries, pulling away, and yes, sometimes expressing themselves in sharp, clumsy, emotionally messy ways. They're not doing it to you. They're doing it around you. And honestly, if you've done your job, this is exactly where they should be developmentally. Because you're the safest place for those big, confusing emotions to land. And listen, that doesn't make it easy, but it does reframe the moment. It reminds you this isn't rejection. It's growing pains. It's not about your failure. It's about their becoming.
Oh.
Yeah, that's so true.
All of the little things that you put inside of them before they were teenagers.
Yes.
This is the part where they're figuring it all out and making it make sense and understanding hormones. And I love this conversation because the kid thing it's a rough one. And so here's what's powerful. When you choose not to personalize it, when you don't react with defensiveness, guilt, or shame, you are showing them what emotional regulation actually looks like. And this is so necessary for the rest of their lives. You model calm, grounded presence, and that's what builds long-term trust. You want to like your kids when they're older. You want your kids to come home. You want to talk to them. You model calm, grounded presence. They want to come back to that. They trust it. It's a safe space. Again, easier said than done. And if we can keep this in practice, instead of snapping back, I've done this. Don't talk to me like that. Or using one of your avoidance styles, which is withdrawing into silence. Oh, That's awful for kids. Instead of doing that, you can respond with something like, oh, wow, sounds like it's been a rough day. You want to talk? That one sentence says, I'm not abandoning you. I'm not escalating this. And I'm not making your emotions about me. That's huge because it's so safe.
I wish I knew this when my kids were teenagers. I didn't have these tools.
We can always go back and have that conversation.
Yeah.
And I want to be very clear. This is not about letting your children walk all over you. It is about recognizing the moment for what it is. It's a little internal storm, and the storm needs an anchor, not more thunder. When you stay steady, you're teaching them emotional safety. This is what so many adult humans lack in the world today. You are showing them that loving people can handle tension without breaking. And just to make sure that I said this out loud, you can have boundaries too. You can circle back later and say, hey, I didn't appreciate how you spoke to me earlier. Let's talk about how we can handle those moments better together. Mm-hmm. Now you're having a conversation, not a power struggle. Nothing good happens inside that power struggle. As a reminder, if your teen, kid, or anybody really, if they snap, don't jump into judgment. Check your breath, check your story, and choose curiosity over control. Nobody wants to feel like somebody's trying to control them. That is how you build a relationship that lasts beyond those child and teenage years.
That was an example to me of what is gentle parenting. It's not letting that teenager control your emotions too.
Yeah.
That to me feels like a very good example of gentle parenting.
Yeah, I think it's John Delaney. I've heard him say, why would I let my 8-year-old daughter control my emotions? What kind of power would an 8-year-old have over me? I'm a grown-ass man. I've lived a life. My job is to show her what calm presence looks like. And I went, yeah, man, I dig it.
That's awesome. All right, let's talk about the digital jungle, because if there's one place personalization thrives, it's social media. Mm-hmm. You post something, a photo, a win, maybe something vulnerable. Instead of feeling proud, you start checking who saw it, who liked it, who didn't. And then it hits. You notice someone you thought was in your corner unfollowed you. Ugh. You get a vague, cryptic comment, or you send a meaningful message and it gets left on read. Suddenly your brain kicks into panic mode. What did I do? Are they mad? Are they judging me? This is the modern version of walking into a room and everyone going quiet.
Yeah.
Your brain reads it as rejection. Your nervous system reads it as threat. And before you even realize it, your sense of self starts to erode unless you catch it. This is where boundaries and emotional sovereignty come in. Just because someone ghosts you or doesn't like your reel or drops a weird emoji doesn't mean anything about your worth. But when you personalize it, you start absorbing energy that was never yours to carry. You start living inside a story that's not even true. So here's your reminder. Don't consume what wasn't meant for your nervous system. Just because it's visible doesn't mean it's for you.
Yeah.
You don't have to decode every post like it's a secret message.
Oh, how often have we just gone down that rabbit hole?
And you don't have to match passive aggression with more passive aggression. Sometimes the most powerful move is this: log off, breathe, and come back to yourself. Let it go.
Put the phone down.
Put the phone down.
Oh my gosh. Okay. You guys are going to recognize a pattern in what we're talking about here. Here's the move. Pause. Wait, Jen, did you say that for all of the other examples too? Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Pause before you react. Ask yourself, is this behavior about me, or do they have their own thing going on? Well, what we've already talked about is they have their own thing going on, because so do you. So does everybody else in the world. Does this comment or silence deserve my energy? Because that's precious.
Mm-hmm.
Think to yourself, would I even care about this if I wasn't already tired or tender or stressed out today? Remember that your emotional energy is currency. You get to choose to spend it where it returns value to you. I think that's really, really important. You get to choose to spend your emotional energy where it returns value to you. And let's not forget, If social media is repeatedly draining you, you got to do something about it. Mute, unfollow, log off. Seriously, be in charge of the way you're creating your space. You don't need to announce it. You don't need like this whole digital breakup speech. I'm leaving because, shut up. Just quietly close the door. You can just go.
Yeah.
The bottom line is you are not the algorithm. Your worth is not tied to views or follows. And not everything deserves a response, whether online or in real life. Especially if you have to shrink or perform to get it. Stay rooted, stay real, and protect your peace like it's your job, because it kind of is. Talk about the things that should be taught in school now with the social media generation. This is exactly why teenagers are anxious. This is the kind of stuff that they need to be teaching in school. So what we need are the tools. Nicole, let's talk about the tools to stop taking it personally.
All right. These might sound familiar. Tool number 1 might seem deceptively simple, but it's incredibly powerful, especially when you're caught in a personalization spiral. And you know what? The easiest time to practice it is with social media, because you're not responding instantly. The person's not in front of you. So the tool is pause.
I see a theme.
Do you see a theme? Just pause. Stop yourself before you react. I have been working on this with social media. I've seen myself get really worked up and then start typing something, and then I go, wait a minute. Is this even necessary? Then I delete it and walk away. Pause. Stop yourself before you react. Even 5 seconds of space between what happens and how you respond can completely change the outcome, whether it's a tricky conversation or a full-on meltdown. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
That's a whole nice deep breath right there.
It is. And it's okay to go 1, 2, 3,
Yes.
4, 5. And someone might look at you like you're crazy. Just say, I need 5 seconds to chill.
Yeah.
That's it. 5 seconds. It's okay. By the way, that's faster than 5 seconds. Yeah, 1,000. Here's what's going on inside your brain in that moment. When something triggers you, a text, a tone, some feedback, your amygdala, the brain's alarm system lights up. That sends your body into the fight, flight, or freeze, the flop, the fawn, all the Fs. Your nervous system gets hijacked. That's why you might feel heat in your chest, your jaw tightening, or the urgent impulse to fire off a quick text or defend yourself. But when you pause, when you hold back that immediate reaction, you create just enough space for that prefrontal cortex, your thinking brain, to step in. How many times have you done something when your amygdala was hijacked, and then afterwards you read it and go, well, shouldn't have sent that text?
Yep.
Because you didn't wait for that prefrontal cortex to come back online. That's the thinking brain. That's where the clarity, the logic, and the calm live. In that pause, you move from reacting to choosing.
I think that's so powerful. Everything is a choice. All of what is in front of us is a choice.
Knowing what your body is doing and then saying, oh, I have a choice to react right now when I know I'm all heated, or take those 5 seconds and then calm that down and see what happens. So yes, you can train yourself to do this.
You can.
Anchor it with a breath or a physical cue. I know it sounded weird, but I went 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's a physical cue is what I was giving you. It's literally your words are being spoken. I'm actually putting up my fingers. Those are physical cues to my body. So you take that slow, deep breath in through your nose and out through your mouth. Yes, that's a physical cue as well. You could place your hand gently on your chest. You could silently tell yourself, not everything needs a reaction.
Not my monkey, not my circuit.
There you go. Whatever works for you. That pause, that's you taking back your power. That's emotional leadership.
Oh.
Honestly, most people don't get this far. They react before they even realize they've been triggered, because we were not taught that we had a choice in that moment. The disgrace is that we are not taught when we are young that we have a choice. Parents, you got to teach your kids, you have a choice to react, but you also have a choice to calm yourself down. When you practice pausing, even just long enough to say, hold up, you break that cycle. You stop your nervous system from hijacking your peace. Next time you feel that emotional charge rising, try the pause. This is not weakness. It's strength in slow motion. That gives you clarity And of course, clarity gives you power.
Clarity is power. Oh, preach it. Yes. Gosh, that was so good. Okay, that was just tool number 1. We got more for you. Number 2, it's all about the reframe. We're changing the story we're telling ourselves. This one is a total game changer. When you find yourself spiraling into a story, especially the kind that starts with, they must be mad at me, or I screwed up, take that pause and stop and ask yourself one simple question. What else could be happening here? This question, it's your brain's off ramp. Why? Because when you feel threatened, your brain doesn't reach for balance. It reaches for survival. We just talked about that. It fills in those blanks with that fear. It assumes judgment. It tells the stories that sound like they don't respect me, or I knew I wasn't good enough. And that's just a natural reinforcement of the thing that you don't want anyway. But the reframe softens that. It pulls you out of your ego and into curiosity. Instead of saying, this is happening to me, woe is me, you could ask, could there be another explanation? Maybe they're stressed. Maybe they misunderstood what you said because you weren't, impeccable with your words. Maybe they're dealing with something you don't know anything about. Or maybe you're just in your own head. We're not talking about pretending that everything's okay. We're talking about giving your brain more options than the drama default. Has anybody ever, you are so into the drama, you love the drama, and you're like, I don't though. I really don't. It's because you haven't practiced this enough. Because when we personalize, we usually go all in. I am convinced it's a single assumed version of the story without ever asking if that story is even true at all. I love this one. What would I tell my best friend if they were in this moment? We're depersonalizing right there. What would I tell somebody I love if they were experiencing this and they asked for my advice? That's a solid, quick question for yourself. And if I had to come up with 3 other explanations, what might those be? Guarantee they exist. Oh, maybe they're in a meeting. Could there be anything? Yes, guaranteed there's at least 3 other explanations. What might they be? And that is how you build emotional agility. You're creating space between that trigger and the truth. From that space, you respond and we don't react.
That's a great one, reframing. So tool number 3, it's about self-talk. And no, I'm not just talking about standing in front of a mirror reciting affirmations, though, hey, that can help too. Feel free, do what you want. But I'm talking about those tiny critical moments when your nervous system is firing and your brain is trying to convince you that everything is about you. So here's the practice. Say to yourself, this isn't about me. This isn't about me. Say it again. Say it again and again and again. And if it helps, say it out loud. Your voice becomes a bridge between your emotional brain and your rational brain. So why does this even work? Because your nervous system hears your words.
Yes.
What you say shapes what you believe. And when you're triggered, your brain needs what is called a pattern interrupt, something to break the loop. You're in a loop. Let's break it. Interrupt that pattern.
Yep.
A phrase like this isn't about me acts like an emotional exhale. It gives your brain new instructions. Stand down. You're safe.
Yeah.
You could even say that.
Yeah.
Stand down. You're safe. Here's how it might play out in real life. Your friend doesn't text back. This isn't about me. She might be dealing with her own stuff. Your boss skips your name in a meeting. This isn't about me. Probably just a logistical slip, not a judgment. Your partner seems distant. This isn't about me. I'll stay open instead of closing off. The key here is consistency. You might not believe it the first time you say it, but keep saying it. Your nervous system learns through repetition, not logic. Speak this truth often enough, and eventually your body will catch up. This is where I believe the phrase fake it till you make it. And you mean what you say, but it's something that's not natural to you. It feels fake, but then it wires, and that's your making it.
Yeah.
There you go.
That's kind of the thing that works for me, is being able to walk it back. Like, get over yourself, Jen. Like, there's so many other things that could be going on, but then the job is to open up the conversation. So we love the tools. Practical application of this stuff in life is what I'm all about. I'm going to give you some quick phrases to ground your nervous system and to shift your story in real time. Okay. When you're spiraling, Nicole just said it. This isn't about me. This isn't about me. That's a great one. Or get over yourself, steal mine. Another great one is, I'm not going to create a story where there isn't one. Genius. I really don't have all of the information right now, so I'm not going to make it up. I'm going to ask. Or here's another one. I don't have enough information to take this personally, so I'm going to learn more. Another one is, well, they're in their world. I'm going to go ahead and stay in mine. It's okay. And probably one of my favorites is, I can observe this without absorbing this. And that is so powerful, just to be able to witness what's happening without taking it on as your essence. So, so powerful. Also, like Nicole was saying, when you feel emotionally hijacked, tell yourself, I'm safe. This is uncomfortable, but not dangerous. Uncomfortable, I can deal with. Danger, we need to do something else with. Or I can pause. I don't need to respond to this right now. Or one breath, one step, one truth. What's going on here? This is a really good one, you guys. This is a moment. It's just a moment in time. It is not a message about my worth. And my job is to stay rooted, not reactive. So when you want to reframe the moment, a great question is, what else could this mean? If anything, can I think of 3 things? Or what if I assumed the best instead of the worst? Or could this be more about them than it is about me? I'll tell you what, if I hadn't had my coffee, it's all about me, you guys. I forget a good morning. It's like, give me a minute. I need my wake up juice. Or if I'm reframing, is there a chance this has nothing to do with me at all? Or if I had to give this a generous interpretation, what would that be? That's like pro level stuff right there. So here's a calming technique. Mig trigger. Oh, they got me. I'm triggered. The pause goes, it's okay to feel this. I don't have to act from this space. A really good one is, I've survived harder moments than this one. We can get through it. Yes. Another one, sometimes we need repeating to ourselves is, my feelings are valid. My reactions are a choice. I do not need to prove, defend, or perform. That's a powerful one. And I trust myself to handle this with clarity.
Love that.
Yeah.
Those are good.
Yeah.
So tool number 4 is one that trips up a lot of us because it calls for vulnerability and brave communication. Embrace your vulnerability, everybody. It's just the way to move. It's the moment you choose to clarify instead of letting your assumptions take over. Instead of shutting down, venting to a friend, or snapping back, you pause and you get curious. So here's the move. You feel tension. Maybe it's a tone, a pause, or a vibe. Maybe you were left on red, or someone seemed distant in conversation. Your brain instantly starts filling in the blanks. They're upset with me. Did I mess up? Or are they being passive aggressive? But instead of sitting in that discomfort and letting it spiral, you calmly ask, hey, I noticed something felt off. Are we okay? That one simple question opens a door instead of building a wall. You're not accusing. You're not jumping to conclusions. You're checking in with care. And that is connection. Most people avoid this moment because it feels vulnerable, but really it takes strength. Emotional maturity lives in the space between reaction and reflection. Yes. I need that on my wall in like big green lettering.
Every room.
Every room. And here's the bonus. When you lead with curiosity instead of defensiveness, you often find that 90% of the time it wasn't about you at all.
Yeah.
And in the 10% when it is about you, you've created a space for repair.
Yes.
Because you asked instead of assuming.
Yeah.
Clarifying isn't confrontation. It's leadership in a relationship, whether personal or professional. It says, I care enough to check in instead of checking out.
Yep.
Beautiful.
Yep. I have found myself there. I have been in situations feeling these things in myself and going to this person, hey, do we have a thing? I'm not sure really where. more often than not, that person is like, oh my gosh, no, I never intended for you to feel that way, or if I was distracted over here. That person is almost embarrassed to have made you feel that way. Having the bravery to go and open up that concept really clarifies that space, and it ends up making you feel better. So whether they did or did not intend on making you feel that way, knowing is better than guessing. And then you know which way to move. Clarity is kinder than assumption. We're talking about that. This is really what we're attempting to do in our lives. So with a romantic partner, something like, hey babe, something feels a little off. Are we okay? That's a turning toward message. That's a soft start. Or, hey, I'm not sure what just happened and I don't want to guess because that doesn't feel good. Can we reset, or can we talk about what just happened? And if you've heard our other episodes, this was all part of the conflict code. By opening up to that, I don't want to guess. Not you suck, you did a thing, you did this to me. I'm feeling interesting. Can we take a look at this? That's all about my experience. And with a romantic partner, the hope is they care enough about getting you back to center. So these are really great phrases. Or with a friend, hey, did I say something that came across wrong? I want to check in. This relationship matters to me. I want to make sure that we're okay. Or, hey, I felt a little tension in our last conversation. Can we clear the air? Sometimes there's a misinterpretation. We don't know what happened. Or if one of us wasn't being impeccable with our words, something happened there. We want to make sure that we clear the air. Or, hey, I'm not sure if I'm reading something into this or if something's actually going on. Can we talk about this? With a friend, my hope is if you care enough to bring this, they care enough to help you with it. That's really, truly a decent friend. Or let's talk about a colleague or a boss. Hey, I want to make sure I'm on the same page. Can we get back to that feedback you gave and maybe be more clear? Or, hey, I noticed your response was a bit different than usual. Is there anything I should be aware of? And I love open-ended questions like this because we're not piling on to the answer my yes or no so I can continue the story that's in my head. These open-ended questions allow for the feedback from the person that you're having the thing with. Before I assume anything, I wanted to ask, was there anything I missed or misunderstood? That's a great colleague question. Make sure we're all on the same page. Everybody's doing the thing that needs to get done. Kids, this is a tough one sometimes. You're allowed to call out what you're seeing. Hey, you seem off today. Do you want to talk or do you just want some space? That really allows the child to kind of develop that safety within the relationship and decide, have the choice to come to you or not, knowing that they're safe to do so. Or they're snapping at you. Hey, I noticed that reaction. Do you want to tell me what's going on? I think that sometimes in perimenopause, menopause, and hormonal teenager or children just figuring themselves out, gosh, sometimes the reaction comes out and we go, oh, I didn't mean that. So when somebody cares enough to be like, oh, wow, that was interesting. Do you want to talk about what's going on? That's almost like a deep breath invitation to go, oh, I was caught in that and I didn't even mean it. Yeah. And it allows for that conversation. Or a great one for parents and their kids is, hey, I'm here when you're ready. I'm not upset. I'm just curious about what's going on. I can tell you, if I got any one of those 3 phrases growing up, oh, things would have been different. Here's a bonus, you guys. We have questions that you can ask yourself. Something like, what story am I telling myself right now? Does this make sense? Is this true? Or is this feeling based on facts or fear? Or something like, can I slow down and ask what I need before I assume what they're thinking? Ooh, that is strength right there.
That is good ones. These are fantastic. My gosh, the tools to stop taking it personally. So we've got number 1, pause, take that second and add that moment or that phrase or those 1, 2, 3, 4, 5s. Reframe, thinking about it differently. Self-talk, how we talk to ourselves. I need some work on that one. And making the choice to clarify. I love that. These are beautiful. The tools to stop taking it personally.
So powerful. And humanness, right? So when it happens anyway, because it's going to happen anyway. Oh, Jen, Nicole, those are great tools. I'm going to go ahead and pull out my little notebook every time I feel this way. And stop it.
And I'm going to get it right 100% of the time and never need to recover.
And yet we do. We do need to know how to recover because it's going to happen anyway. Here's the deal. We're still going to take things personally because we're human. Your brain is wired for social survival. It's always scanning rejection, criticism, threat. The goal isn't to never personalize again. The goal actually is awareness. It's to notice faster. It's to recover quicker. And it's to do less damage while you're in it. So instead of asking, why am I still reacting like this? Why am I doing this? If I know better, how come I'm not doing better? You can ask yourself, how quickly can I catch it and shift? Because that's the real work, building the awareness. That is where the growth lives. It's not in perfection, but it's in that pause. That pause is where the growth lives. So if you catch yourself triggered, just stop. Just stop. Take a breath. Name it out loud. I'm personalizing again. That triggered me. I need a second. That one sentence puts your awareness back in the driver's seat. Then we get to use that tool. We reframe it. We ask ourselves, is there another way to see this? Could this not be about me at all? And we get to remind ourselves, not every moment means that my worth isn't what it is. This is how we build that emotional muscle. It's not by avoiding triggers, but by showing up differently when they happen. Every time you do this, you get a little bit stronger and a little bit more clear and a little bit more grounded.
Yes. For this week's challenge, we want you to pick one area. So work, relationships, tech, social media, children, whatever you want to choose. Every time you feel taken personally, pause and apply one tool we shared. Not all of them, just one. And track it. Because reclaiming your emotional territory isn't a one-time fix. It's practice. Notice how your energy shifts, how relationships deepen. And if today's episode resonated, share it with someone who needs their peace back too. Let's go into some takeaways. Jeez. You want me to go
Minute
first?
1, 3, 5, 7.
Right. So, yeah, literally making someone else's behavior a reflection of my worth. Why would I do that?
Yeah.
Why would I give that power away? I love the term generous interpretation.
Yeah.
Giving them a generous interpretation. I want the grace. Give the grace. The lens, I already talked about that. I can change my lens. Just think about it as changing my lens. Wait, you know what? I don't like the purple lens. I'm going to put the red lens on. I want to see the world that way.
Yeah.
I want to put the positive lens on. Growth requires friction. We know it.
Mm-hmm.
I want to reject it. I want to send that back. And yet I know. Another one, this was really little, but tender as a feeling. I'm feeling tender today. You know, there's been a lot of days when I was feeling tender and I didn't know the right term for it. You said tender and I was like, oh, that's the feeling I've been having.
That's the word.
Yeah. And reacting to choosing. My reactions are a choice. It's not a reaction, it's a choice. I love that.
Oh, so powerful.
Good stuff.
My takeaway is all of those. You know, as we're rolling through these episodes from the 30,000 foot view, it is so incredible to me how all of this plays into each other.
It's amazing.
We have done episodes on conflict where we talk about attachment styles. We talk about how to talk to each other. We talk about how to talk to ourselves. We talk about all of these things. And then this agreement helps us put it into practice, put it into play, and how knowing more and more about yourself allows you the space and grace inside to make these choices that we're talking about here. And it's so incredible how it really does all wrap up together into this beautiful box of who you are inside. It is incredible to me how attachment styles and being impeccable with your word and finding a little bit bravery and vulnerability, and the more honest with ourselves we are, how we really get to create our reality and make it what we'd like it to be. It's incredible to me. That's the takeaway, is it all matters. It's all intertwined. There's not one piece that doesn't connect to another piece. And, you know, gosh, we're not reacting to the thing in front of us. We're reacting to the old thing that's showing up now. That is just like, boom. Okay, I get it. Thank you for that. Now what do we do with it?
Take it forward.
Yes.
Practice, 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 practice.
Gosh, I keep thinking that every episode is my favorite episode. This is my favorite episode.
Good one. All right, let's go into our questions.
Okay.
I'm going to go first. If you could share a meal with any 3 individuals, living or dead, who would they be?
Ooh, if I could share 3. Oh, God, there's so many amazing people, dead and alive. I got to narrow it down to 3.
3.
Okay.
That's the challenge.
Buddha, Confucius, and Jesus.
Ooh, interesting, coming out of the mouth of a non-religious person.
Yeah.
You want to clarify that one for me?
Philosophy. I'm in love with philosophy.
Ooh.
So it's less religious based and it's more, can we get into the real shit? Like what we're doing right here. Like outside of religion, they're all talking about very similar paths, a way to live. What matters? It's the morals and the ethics and how do you show up? And I think that those 3 individuals, they happen to be all men. I would just be there with my mouth hanging open. I would just be eating and listening. Talk more, y'all. Give it to me. And if they could like mainline all of the information into me from that meal, yeah, I just said that out loud and I went, oh wow, that would be incredible. Yep.
That's good. That's really good. They picked some top-notch people to pick their brains. That is for sure.
Yeah.
Oh, I love it.
All right. My brother and I have been shooting like these memes back and forth to each other. So it's the nostalgia of like things that we've been missing in our lives. Okay. So here's the question. What weird thing do you have nostalgia for?
What weird thing do I have nostalgia for? That's a good question for me because I'm not a super nostalgic person. I'm trying to think what's weird. Okay, I'll tell you. This is a weird thing I have nostalgia for. I miss not knowing. I know that sounds strange, but you know what? And I always think about this in our phones. It's a computer. It can answer literally any question for you. I remember when if you had a question, you would write it down and the next time you go to the library, you'd look up the answer to it. And there was something about not knowing. I miss the moments of not knowing.
I love that. You know what? Because that sparks so much creation that I wonder and I think and maybe or could it?
Right. And the guessing, and you don't have to do that anymore. I feel like it does change and shift us in our society. My grandkids will never know the feeling of not knowing the answer to something because they can always just look it right up. That's the weird thing that I'm nostalgic for.
We do. We live in a knowing society. And so that's probably why if somebody doesn't know something, they feel scared, embarrassed, worried, right? Unworthy, all of those things. And so, yeah. Wow, that I was not expecting. And that was probably the best answer ever.
Well,
good one, Nicole. That is so deep. I love it. Okay.
Every question I have, I can just look it up. And the knowing does feed a different type of energy and learning and inquisitiveness, but we don't sit in not knowing. Mm-hmm. So that's what I miss.
Good one.
All right. Well, thank you for joining us today. And our next episode, we are going to be diving into agreement number 3, which is don't make assumptions and trust us. It's one that hits deep and challenges the stories we tell ourselves. Until then, stay steady, stay clear, and remember this. What's theirs is theirs. Protect your peace. See you next time.
Thank you.
Write your lines with passion, let your spirit free.